time has come for people of planet Earth to rise up and demand the re-legalization of marijuana. My name is Bruce Kane, and I'm the current editor of the website New Age Citizen. I'm an expert on drug policy issues and used to be known as Professor Hemp during my tenure as editor of the nationally distributed magazine New Age Patriot, which was published from 1989 through 1997. This is the first in a series of discussions focusing on how we are going to go about re-legalizing marijuana in the United States and throughout the planet. In the weeks between the election and the inauguration, President Obama created the Change.gov website in order to gather policy recommendations from the American people. To Obama's surprise, the most recommended change from the American people was to re-legalize marijuana for both medical and personal use. So how did President Obama respond to we, the American people? Well, he flatly rejected the will of the American people by stating, "I'm not going to legalize marijuana." Next, merely days after he was inaugurated, he allowed the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration to raid multiple medical grow operations in California and other states where the people passed initiatives to allow the medical use of marijuana. This is a blatant betrayal of his campaign promise to stop the DEA raids on medical grow operations. Well, President Obama, we are no longer going to tolerate your dismissive "yes, we can't" on marijuana re-legalization. It is no longer "yes, we can't" unless it serves the interests of the global elite, whom I believe you represent. From now on, our battle cry will be, "We demand that you re-legalize marijuana." We aren't taking no for an answer any longer. Frankly, 70 years of marijuana prohibition is 70 years too long. To see how absurd the war on marijuana has become, all you have to do is look at the number of people getting busted each year. Just in the last 20 years, the number of Americans getting busted and arrested mainly for possession has nearly tripled. I would not be the least bit surprised if we don't see over 1 million Americans getting busted in the first year of your administration, and that would be 1 million too many. This is the first in a series of videos where I will be explaining the strategy and rationale for re-legalizing marijuana under what I call the MERP model of marijuana re-legalization. I will be explaining this in the future in much more detail, but for the time being, here is a brief description of the MERP model. The MERP model can be succinctly described as follows. The MERP model of marijuana re-legalization would minimally allow non-commercial cultivation of up to 100 plants by adults above the age of 18 without any form of government taxation, regulation, or other interference. The moneyed drug reform organizations, those supported by Soros, Sperling, and Lewis, will have nothing to do with the MERP model, contending that it is far too radical. The groups which they fund, such as the Marijuana Policy Project and the Drug Policy Alliance, are only interested in, quote, tax and regulate, unquote, proposals for marijuana reform. It really makes you wonder how serious they are about re-legalizing marijuana, and also whether they somehow profit from a tax and regulate model. But the MERP model is really not significantly different from the way we allow U.S. citizens to produce beer and wine within our homes. Home beer and wine production is neither taxed nor is it significantly regulated. And many activists need to be weaned from this false notion that the government should get to tax everything. If they don't tax your tomatoes or your beer, why should they be allowed to tax your cannabis? It should be emphasized that the MERP model has intrinsic advantages over tax and regulate models that are promoted by the moneyed organizations. For it is only by completely taking the profit out of marijuana that we can effectively defund both drug gangs and the Mexican drug cartel that now have infiltrated most major cities throughout the United States. It is estimated that nearly $20 billion in marijuana profits are redirected back to Mexico each year from the Mexican drug cartels alone. Under the MERP model, that $20 billion would remain here in the United States, stimulating the U.S. economy, producing both jobs and tax revenues. Well, that's as far as I want to go in this discussion today. I would like to conclude this first chapter by asking each viewer to do 5 things over the next few days. 1, share this video with as many people as you can. 2, subscribe to my YouTube videos. 3, get on my mailing list by going to my website, newagecitizen.com. 4, plan to attend one of the 200+ international Global Marijuana March events that will be happening on May 2nd, 2009, the first Saturday in May. Just Google the Global Marijuana March to find an event in your area. And 5, make a point of calling Obama and your federal House and Senate members once every week. Demand that they support the implementation of marijuana re-legalization under the MERP model, and make it clear that you will not vote for them unless they publicly support and implement the MERP model before their next election. Once you've done all these things, let me commend you for becoming part of the grassroots movement to legalize marijuana under the MERP model. The era of marijuana prohibition is about to end. The time for action begins now. Thank you very much. This is Bruce Kane, editor of New Age Patriot.